Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Smith, and today I'll be evaluating the Terms of Use Agreement for Priceline.com. But before we dive in, let's address why this matters. Terms of Use Agreements are the backbone of any online service. They define the relationship between a company and its users while protecting both parties from legal disputes. For this presentation, I'll analyze whether Priceline's Terms of Use is a valid contract, how enforceable it is, and what changes could improve it. I'll also incorporate research-backed insights to strengthen my recommendations. Let's get started. A valid contract requires an offer, acceptance, and consideration. Priceline's Terms of Use outlines the services offered, the rules for using them, and the user's obligations, which satisfy the offer and consideration components. Acceptance is implied when users visit the site or make transactions. By accepting the site, users agree to be legally bound without limitation, qualification, or change to abide by these terms and conditions, which will constitute our agreement. However, implied acceptance via browse wrap agreements, like Priceline's, has been challenged in court. For example, in Spate versus Netscape Communications Court, the court ruled that browse wrap agreements can be unenforceable if users aren't clearly informed of the terms. To improve enforceability, Priceline should require users to click I agree, transitioning to a click wrap agreement. Research by the American Bar Association shows click wrap agreements are upheld in court far more often than browse wrap. Part 2. Binding mechanisms and user consent. One critical issue with Priceline's Terms of Use is that it doesn't require user consent. Instead, users are bound simply by using the website. Legal experts like Eric Goldman emphasize the importance of clear and conspicuous notice for enforceability. A switch to a click wrap mechanism would not only ensure compliance, but also build user trust. Studies in the National Law Review highlight how lack of user consent has led to costly litigation. For instance, Facebook settled a $90 million lawsuit due to unclear terms related to data tracking. By making consent explicit, Priceline could avoid similar disputes and reinforce its commitment to transparency. Part 3. Priceline's Terms of Use include a mandatory arbitration clause, which prevents users from filing lawsuits and instead requires disputes to be resolved through arbitration. While this is common, it's not without controversy. Critics argue that arbitration often favors corporations over consumers. In AT&T Mobility LLC versus Concepcion, the Supreme Court upheld arbitration clauses, solidifying their legality. However, public backlash against these clauses has grown. According to a New York Times investigation, many arbitration clauses are criticized for limiting consumer rights and transparency. I recommend Priceline enhance fairness by allowing users to opt out of arbitration within 30 days of agreeing to the terms. This approach, adopted by companies like Airbnb, has been well received and helps balance corporate and consumer interests. Part 4. Recommendations for improvement. Here are my research-backed recommendations for improving Priceline's Terms of Use. 1. Switch to a click wrap agreement. As noted earlier, click wrap agreements are more enforceable and transparent than browse wrap. Studies from the Electronic Frontier Foundation suggest the change significantly reduces legal risk. Step 2. Simplify legal jargon. Research from the Digital Media Law Project shows that clearer language improves user comprehension and trust. Priceline should aim for terms written at an 8th grade reading level, similar to privacy policies praised by the EFF. 3. Revise arbitration clauses. Introduce a 30-day opt-out period for arbitration, as supported by consumer rights groups. This balances corporate protection with user autonomy. 4. Notification of changes. Priceline reserves the right to amend its terms without notifying users, which courts had previously struck down as unfair. Adding a notification requirement for major changes would align with legal best practices and foster goodwill. Conclusion. In conclusion, while Priceline's Terms of Use is legally valid, it has room for improvement in areas of enforceability, transparency, and fairness. Implementing these changes would not only enhance legal compliance, but also strengthen Priceline's relationship with its users. Thanks for watching. If you found this analysis helpful or have questions, feel free to drop a comment below. See you next time.